Okay, so here we go, part 2 of lattice multiplication. So real quick, lattice multiplication is, I think it's used in several different programs, but it's mostly known to be associated with everyday math, which is a series of textbooks. It's a whole curriculum that comes from the University of Chicago, and it's used worldwide, very popular here in the US. It's a great program. It's what's known as a spiral math curriculum. So that means that kids learn like a couple different concepts, and then, you know, a week or two later, they circle back and review the things that they'd already learned, and then they tackle another concept. So there's a lot of constant review. However, spiral math curriculums can be tricky for a lot of kids because it doesn't go in depth in one topic. So like they might cover a little bit of the metric system and then move on to like division and then come back around and go back to the metric system. So anyway, if your child is using everyday math or another program, you might see the lattice method of multiplication. So a lot of us learned multiplication like this. So the problem would look like, say we have 46 times 24, right? So a lot of us Gen Xers and millennials learned that you go about solving this problem like this. 4 times 6 is 24, and then you carry your 2. 4 times 4 is 16, plus another 2 is 18, and then we move over here. So 2 times 6 is 12, and we carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus another one is 9, and then we take these numbers and add them up, and we get our answer. So lattice is really very similar, but it looks very different. So with lattice multiplication, you would have a grid. Sometimes they're already given to your child. Sometimes your child is asked to make a grid. Honestly, making the grid is probably the biggest place kids mess up. But lattice can be really friendly to a lot of kids, especially if they don't really get this. If this is confusing and like, you know, not putting a number here and wait, why are we adding now? That can be a little wacky. So lattice can be really visually friendly to a lot of kids. So I made this like 2 by 2 little grid because we're doing 2-digit number times another 2-digit number. And then I drew the slanted lines. So what's kind of cool is we can start anywhere here. So like, let's start with this box. So we do 6 times 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. And then we can do anywhere. So let's do 6 times 4, which is 24. And then let's hop over here. 4 times 2 is 8. And we put a 0 in this place. And then 4 times 4 is 16. So do you see how I put like the 10s and then the 1s kind of on the bottom? So now we go and look at these slanted areas and we just add them up. And what is important here is to start kind of on the right side. So 4 plus nothing is 4. 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. And very similar to our style, we carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10, and then we have 11. So we end up with 1104. So again, this can be a really friendly way for a lot of kids who find this way thoroughly confusing. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, drawing the grids can be the most difficult thing for kids. Using graph paper can really be helpful for that part. And just to give another little example, let's say we have like a 3-digit number, like 314 times 52, then you'd make your grid, you know, 2 rows and 3 columns. Or you can do 3 rows and 2 columns, whichever one, so long as it's, you know, 2 by 3. Hope that's helpful.